Gustavo, my name is Kristen and I'm a physical therapist. From the history you gave, is you've been dealing with some wrist pain for about 2 years now, and it's been quite persistent. You had said you thought you got injured doing a boxing class and you weren't taught how to properly hold your wrists. What I'm going to talk you through is some ways to protect your wrists with your activities, and then if that doesn't help resolve some of the pain over the next few weeks, then I would recommend you going to a wrist and hand therapist, because it's very hard to assess some of these real specific injuries without actually seeing and touching your wrist. So the first thing I'm going to have you do is, the goal is to control inflammation. I don't know how much you've done of that, but the wrist can be difficult because inflammation can sit here in the wrist joint, and that's often the cause of carpal tunnel and that type of thing. Another thing that can happen in the wrist, a common thing to happen, is to get a cyst. And when the cyst is there, that anytime you do any compression activities, you were saying push-ups are hard, pushing and pulling objects at work, those types of things cause wrist pain. If there's a cyst, it causes a lot of compression on the joint, and that's something you need to assess also. It's not always something you need to actually have surgically taken care of, but doing some techniques that you're really using your wrists and hands in a better position will help protect them. So that's what I'm going to talk through with you today. So controlling inflammation, the first thing is you can do some gentle massage to the wrist. And massage, you always want to massage the hand back up to the heart. So that will help control some of the inflammation. You can massage your wrists together like this, which will help reduce some of the stress on your fingers. Then using cold packs around your wrists for about 10 to 15 minutes, 2 to 3 times a day, will really help reduce the inflammation. Once the inflammation is down, we really want to protect your wrists. So it sounds like you stay very active, and often you were mentioning that you haven't done push-ups because of this extended position causes pain on your wrists. You want to start doing things, even pushing and pulling, while your wrists are in neutral in this position here versus here or here. You know, if you do any computer work, often when we're using our mouse, our wrists go in this position, and you really want to support your arm and put your hand on the mouse so it's in this position, because maintaining this neutral position is going to significantly reduce the stress on your wrist. The other thing I'm going to show you is there's some tools you can do to accommodate and put your wrists in a better position for push-ups. You'll see a lot of military, they'll do push-ups on their hands like this if it bothers them, like this, so they'll hold their hands again in this neutral position. So I'm going to show you, there's some tools that you can use for push-ups that are like this, and that, see how holding my hand in this position again keeps it in neutral versus being in this position, which is the compression and putting the wrist in end range extension. So holding your wrists in neutral as you do a push-up significantly reduces the stress on your hands. The other thing is, while you're lifting weights, watching the position you have. A lot of times we hold things here, and you want to hold your hand again in neutral, somewhat neutral here, versus really pushing here or here. So again, you want to find a nice neutral position as you push and pull whatever you push or pull. It sounds like you do a lot of that at work, so you want to find a neutral position, so you're picking things up here versus here or here. You're pushing, instead of pushing at end range here, you can push grabbing an object like this, again keeping your wrist in more of a neutral position. All of those will help protect your hands until the inflammation and the pain goes away. If it seems to not quickly resolve in the next few weeks while you're protecting them and not testing this end range extension, then I would seek out a good hand therapist or hand orthopedist that could advise you on what's going on, because sometimes there is a cyst or something that's bogging down and causing more compression on that could be irritating. And that may or may not, that could have been there prior to your boxing class, but just got irritated by that. So I hope that answers your question. Be well.